pressure on and not necessarily fall back when the going gets tough.
One thing that does seem to be apparent, especially if you look back towards the latter end of Hollywood, is that I do think Fusion University has kind of realized the idea that if you take down Retzi early on, it's difficult for Simplicity to make the best of things, where KSF has his moments as a Genji, but he's not usually enough to sort of bring things over the top. And given the fact that I think Ginger Pop and Wanja have just been having trouble against the combo of Alarm and Elk, it's tough for Simplicity to find ways to convincingly win fights here.
Yeah, there's been some disconnects between Wonjae Lee along with Ginger Pop and that support duo. Speaking of the support duo, Ginger Pop looks like he wants to start it off with the Moira here. Wonjae Lee going over to the Zenyatta. Never mind, Ginger Pop swapping now on to the Lucio. So it's just going to be vanilla dive for Simplicity up against Fusion University's dive. It's going to be Elk on that Ana.
And Fusion, they're running with one of their strongest setups here where, I mean, you do normally see Elk on the Lucio, but he's a fine Ana. And Simplicity, they're just going to work their way in. And Fusion's going to counter dive immediately, where who are you? Not a lot chilling, but it's KSF, found Zachary. Zachary was a little bit split off, ended up getting outflanked by Simplicity. So you have Simplicity. They've given themselves the 6-on-5 advantage, and this is where you should just go in. Know you have the advantage, lay in the damage into the tanks, and just go at this point. Please finish this off in this situation. KSF, though, under assault. Winston chases him down, but it's a nice orb to keep him up. A good disengage from KSF, but DPS is far out. They lose both tanks while he's backing out. And Fusion University, even though they started out pretty rough on the defense, making some degree of resistance, but it's just so hard to actually come back on Hanamura, given the spawn disadvantage.
It is. Elk doesn't have that nade, so he's not able to keep himself topped off. So Fusion University, they tried to go for that last minute push, but they weren't able to regroup enough. Beast Halo didn't have the heals. He was dropped down to about 200 HP and then instantly melted once he tried to contest that point once again. So now Simplicity, they have 6 minutes and 40 seconds making that left-hand push with the rest of the team.
They also have a window here with this Dragon Blade. Alarm does not quite have the Transcendence up. Elk can be a huge pain if he throws a nano boost on the Beast Halo here, but the window is closing right now. They're a little bit late. Now who are you as a Blade? Alarm's gonna Transcendence him up, but there's the bomb on Elk. He's already out of the fight. KSF makes it a double, moving on and in, but who are you? Took down both supports! A counter Blade from Fusion University limits the damage that Simplicity can do here.
And this is the impact of Who Are You on that Genji, bringing this team fight back into the favor of Fusion University. They haven't even given up the tick yet. Take a look at it. It is just a sliver away. And so with that, Simplicity are thwarted. Fusion University, hold on to that tick.
Who Are You so deadly, and don't forget, I think if Simplicity went in there a little bit earlier, they did have a window, but it's why when you get an ult advantage after the first fight, you gotta go in as quick as possible. You just don't know how close the other team is.
And so KSF has now swapped off. He's going over to the Soldier 76. Try to get that high ground for his team already there, pushing in. Zachary spotted on the left-hand side, so they know counter dive coming out. DPS will stay alive with that Primal Rage, batting everyone in the way. Sound Barrier comes out.
Simplicity doubling down here at this fight. Sound Barrier out, but they don't get any kills while it's in progress. You need to get something out of your barrier. Fusion was able to disengage really well. Zom's gonna burn the self-destruct. Is he gonna be able to stay alive? Transcendence in. Gets Who Are You? Who Are You is a little bit too deep there. But they lose Retzi in the process. They're not able to really convert. And again, I think it's because the sound barrier part of it didn't work out well. Fusion, again, was able to just rope-a-dope it. Respawns are coming back in, and Simplicity probably not going to get too much here. They are able to deal with Crack-Lackin', but they don't have the people as Who Are You brings out the Blade. That's going to be enough to evict Simplicity from the point.
Surprised they stuck around so long, even though they had lost both DPS early on in that fight. But at least by sticking around, they were able to force out the Nano Blade. So Simplicity don't have to worry about that for quite some time now. And speaking of time, they still have 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Who Are You and Beast Halo just exchanging some nods.
It's sort of that non-verbal communication that really, yeah, you think it's just actual gameplay.
Yeah, no awkward small talk.
It's your emote game. But Simplicity coming in from the top, this probably doesn't have the legs to be a great push here, but if you could force out Transcendence, maybe force out Self-Destruct, it's not the worst. See DPS in the back, getting focused by D.Va. Meanwhile, Beast Halo goes a little bit far out. Simplicity now has some room to work with. KSF about to get attack visor, so Alarm's gonna have to transcend sooner here than he might like. Crackalacken, is he gonna get back to his back? He does! KSF so close yet so far, and that could have been a huge swing in this fight. Gets who are you, but the D.Va's still up. That's a huge problem, and now can't even really bring out the attack visor.
That could have been such a great moment for KSF. He had secured that high ground. The D.Va was out of her mech. He could have just gotten rid of her. He would have instantly popped that tactical visor now. And Simplicity, they're staying in this. Alarm found the frag onto Retzi, and that has to be the end of the fight.
I'm gonna guess that Crackalacken's mouse sensitivity at times D.Va is over 9,000. That was some top class spazzing out there at the end.
We're back to Who Are You, Beast Halo. Remember, no awkward small talk between Winston and the Genji Ninja here.
Winston, you can headbang in my metal band any day. My goodness. Who Are You and Beast Halo just bonding on levels that we didn't think possible. Simplicity, though, coming up over the top. Attack visor ready, and again, just trying to build space here. They're going to barrier to make more sure. They visor right after. They gun down Beast Halo, and KSF sending Fusion running for the hills. But again, this is the good disengage that Fusion does. I've done this multiple times this map. Alarm got out of danger. He was so low, and yet he's still in the fight. Now the Nano Blade. Who Are You slicing through the tank line here, and that's going to let Fusion University hang on. And what I just have to point to, Jamerson, every time Fusion University has a great disengage.
Yeah, that was a great disengage. They knew they had to cut their losses, give up that one tick over to Simplicity. 57.5% is what they were able to secure off of that, but that's because Fusion University allowed them to have it. Now the Nano Blade is off the table once again for Simplicity, but they just don't have the ultimate rotations here to really try and take advantage of it. They have nothing really other than Retzi's bomb now to try and come up with a huge play.
Well, Retzi's bomb, there are worse plays in your deck to have. That is, oh my word, he got blown up. Bye, DPS, you're done.
Yeah, DPS, that's kind of been his MO on this Winston so far. Go on top of the control point and try and jump down onto supports who overextend, but every time he goes up there, you've had Crackalackin and Beast Halo just focus him down. Who Are You gets caught out though with that Helix rocket.
So the question is, can DPS get in here in time to take advantage of that? The answer is probably going to be no. He's going to be getting here right as Who Are You is back up, so it's not really a huge edge. Gives Simplicity a little bit of room position on the top. They're about to have the attack visor up, though, and there's the early pick off the Beast Halo. This is going to let KSF attack visor from the top, and this time, plenty in his sights, including Who Are You, has to run the other way, gunned right down, KSF getting the better of him, and now Simplicity, the chance they have waited for, 95.6%. They just need a little bit more. They have gotten through this Iron Fusion University defense, and Beast Halo, a little bit late, buddy. A little bit late.
Yeah, got super aggro with that nano boost. Could have just stayed on the point. Instead, he got a little bit thirsty for a frag, and that meant that they were able to stall. They weren't able to stall it out. So 1 minute and 6 seconds, and those 6 seconds could prove crucial for Simplicity.
Beast Halo was later spotted telling his team, "Guys, I don't understand. The game bugged out. I swear I was on the point and not hitting this guy in the corner."
It's on record, though. You can't make that claim, Beast Halo. But now, Fusion University, they want to get this victory. They want to secure their first place spot. Make sure they walk away with that 3-0 as we move on to week number 4. Who Are You and Zachary are already hovering over the Tracer and Genji combination. Why not? Who Are You's Genji has been spot on so far today. His ultimates on either Tracer or Genji have proved very effective.
Well, the other thing, too, for Fusion University is that it's their fastball, right? It's their best team composition. It's something that teams have a very difficult time dealing with. So why wouldn't you throw it at a team until they show that they can deal with it effectively? And in Fusion University's case, there is no reason. You keep running it until Simplicity shows they can beat it.
We'll see now. They have the opportunity to try and keep their match hopes alive. Remember, Fusion University, they're sitting on match points right now. 2-0 is the scoreline. Simplicity, they need to run this back, the reverse sweep. They're going to go dive for dive. Ginger Pop on the Ana for the defense.
The problem here is that I don't really expect too long of a hold here on first. The type of composition Simplicity is running, they would just have to out-duel Fusion University pretty heavily. And that would mean that you would have to have a case where Alarm doesn't get an early pickoff on someone in the back, or Who Are You doesn't find a moment where Retzi or someone is out of position. And I just find that exceedingly unlikely here. Fusion University, they should be able to get through here.
All right, so now Fusion University on the defense. They're holding close, and they might get punished for it. Both tanks caught out, but they are able to back away to Ginger Pop for the heals.
KSF had to get out of there in a hurry. Zom still has not recovered from that early onslaught, but Elk a little bit too far out. Punished by KSF here early on. Simplicity able to back up, regroup, get a breather, and now move back in. They don't have to worry about Elk letting Fusion University do their standard disengage the way that they normally would. But on the same note, Simplicity doesn't really super heavily follow it, and I think that's fine. Now Fusion University coming back in on the re-engage. Who Are You already at 70% on the Dragon Blade? And Simplicity, back and forth are both sides here. Gotta think we're gonna be seeing the nano boost on the DPS here in a moment, and there it is. He's gonna leap right on in.
He was booped back, though, so some of the damage mitigated, but KSF is there with the follow-up. That's 2 frags going on over. Now, Who Are You dashes his way to safety for now. Looks like they might have been trying to hunt it. Our Simplicity, Who Are You, stays alive. So now, with Zachary falling, Fusion University are going to have to wait this out.
And the key here is look at the ult game between Who Are You and Wanja. Wanja was not able to get quite enough done. If he was at Alarm's percentage now, we'd be a hope. But Who Are You able to... Wait, where are you, Simplicity? You've already given up positioning on the point here for free. You're going for an ambush. Doesn't quite work. Who Are You has the blade at the ready, and the blade comes out from KSF. And you just see Who Are You go, I'm not going to fight this. Tanks are going to zone out KSF all the while. Meanwhile, on the other end, Who Are You still holding on to his blade as Fusion University starts moving a little bit further in. Now Who Are You out with a blade of his own. Gets one, looking for more. Going to use most of it here against D.Va. And that should be enough for Fusion University to get the point.
And it's Ginger Pop, of all people, isn't able to reset himself in. Oh no. Now Beast Halo along with Zachary. They're taking a very aggressive stance now, pushing forward. They're gonna try and jump anyone who comes out here. It's more than likely gonna be Retzi on that Tracer. There he is. Spotted out Beast Halo, but does he know Zachary's there?
I don't think he did, which is why he backed out in a hurry once he found that out. Fusion University now in a very good spot here, and remember, they have to complete and we'll go into extra rounds, but they could have a huge time bank advantage if they play this right. But again, getting in on last point Hanamura, easier said than done sometimes.
Easier said than done. Beast Halo jumps in. He's got the Primal Rage, instantly has to pop it. He's trying to herd them into the corner there, and he's doing a good job of them, keeping them in spawn right now. They are just applying pressure onto the point, but DPS uses his own Primal Rage to try and force them back.
They got Zoms out of the fight really early. Beast Halo ends up giving up his life for it, though. Cracklackin'. Look, your other tank is down. You've got to get into the fray sooner rather than later. Retzi eats a Bionade. It was a reflected Bionade. He reflects a Bionade into Retzi to set that up. Oh my goodness, Who Are You? And Fusion University still applying pressure here, but they've lost enough that Simplicity, especially with this nano boosted Winston, is going to force him back.
Yep, DPS falls back. He's going to get topped off soon by Ginger Pop. D-Mex, both D.Va now. Zombs falls. Who Are You jumps on in. That's going to be Beast Halo going in now. KSF drop down low. He back dashes away.
Simplicity went too far in. Now they have to transcend just to keep even here. Both Zenyatta's going to be dancing the Zenyatta dance, and Simplicity still in a good spot, able to push Fusion University back. The opportunity they thought they had from Who Are You, not quite there, and even with the bomb, Fusion has to back out.
Yeah, Fusion backs away. Now Elk swapping over to the Ana. But Who Are You already has his blade, so I see him using this just early on. Try and get himself coordinated with Elk and try to get on that ultimate rotation with him here. It's KSF, who's got a blade of his own on the opposite end. We'll see who wins out of this Genji battle.
So far, my money would be on Who Are You. Both teams waiting. Fusion University, they're just going straight up the gut here early on. KSF holding on to his blade, he should know that Alarm doesn't have a Transcendence here. I mean, he just used it, so KSF could have popped it a little bit earlier. Who Are You still biding his time? Both teams trading out poke. Here's KSF, blade out to the back and immediately taken down, but not before he gets Alarm. Who Are You, though? Showing a real blade, reflects the sleep! Nap time for Ginger Pop as Who Are You still keeps Fusion alive.
But they do have the stall here. Primal Rage, Winston, now Zombs, D-Mech, though. That's going to be the next target And so Who Are You stays alive for now, but he's getting hunted down by the Primal Rage Winston, who was able to get the kill onto Kraken Lacken. That might have allowed them to stabilize here. Beast Halo with the Primal Rage bats away the Mei, who was trying to stall out on the point, but they still haven't secured it.
I can't believe Fusion is still fighting here, and I can't believe it's still kind of working. Alarm! What a response! Gets on the Retzi. Fusion still fighting. This could backfire really heavily if they don't get any progress, though, because they're tricking themselves and thinking that they're so close here. They're tricking us to a degree, and yet Simplicity, they don't give up a tick. They're actually doing quite well here, and Fusion University is down to their final 3 minutes.
Final 3 minutes, and what's nuts is KSF swapped onto the Mei for that last-minute stall, but he's already at 70% towards his Blizzard. This is a great ultimate to use here because it encapsulates almost the entire point. So Fusion University, they have to be careful of their cooldowns. Walled off as Who Are You tries to get into the fray here. The Winston has to be careful. Beast Halo falls.
Beast Halo just cut off from his team. Even Who Are You coming up there was not enough of a distraction, and Fusion University now actually in a really tough spot. It's going to be pretty unlikely that they match Simplicity's time. And don't forget, if they finish off in overtime, they don't get an attack. So Simplicity, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
There is a light indeed. Now KSF, he's got the Blizzard ready. They've got so many ultimates here. Fusion University coming up to 5 now. Who Are You? Hasn't been able to find much with this blade on the offense so far, but he's got the nano now. There's a Transcendence. He's gonna hold on to it. There we go. Cuts on through, but he slept.
What a sleep coming in. The nano boosted blade is something that can actually punch through Transcendence depending on it, but not when you are sleeping. And that means Simplicity will be taking this fight. You've already lost 2 here, and look, Fusion, I know you like your scrappy fights, but please understand when you gotta reset. This has not worked out in your favor here so far as Retzi continues to clean up in the back.
Kraken Lacken also just gonna get staggered for so long. Gonna see
Geronimo
over the edge there. Isn't even given that satisfaction as DPS finishes him off, and now Fusion University, they're down to 1 minute and 20 seconds here against Simplicity.
And again, I'm gonna reiterate, they need to do it with time left on the clock, or they are still in a very tough position here. Although, it is worth knowing if they force a draw, they can just win off that like the last series, but you don't want to be in that situation. Simplicity, holding on here in the back. They just don't want to give up an early pick. You see the nano boost on the DPS, he leads the way in, and they get Beast Halo early on. Here's the Primal Rage. This is the disruption you need. Farewell, Fusion University. Try again, says Simplicity.
Setting themselves over the edge. DPS forcibly sending them over the edge here. Late staggered elimination onto Who Are You now in Fusion University. Almost out of gas. Zachary did swap off onto Soldier 76 before that last fight, so he's at 40%. But Simplicity, they've been really proactive on their defense, making sure that Fusion University can't get the high ground for free.
Well, unless Simplicity were the fold here, they're already in a perfect situation. The worst case scenario for them is that they get an attack with 1:06 left and Fusion gets nothing. Fusion is not going to kill them and get a full capture in 13 seconds. And they lost Elk, so they're really not going to do that here. Who Are You? Coming on in. 1 blade to KSF. Looking for a little bit more. Transcend going to ruin most of his day there. And Fusion University just struggling. Fighting for a chance to even bring this into extra rounds and go for the draw, but Simplicity is holding their ground right now. The self-destruct works in the back, and it's a late swap on the Widow by KSF, just cleaning up into the back line. Needs a little bit more. Elk has to throw his body on the point. He's gonna get sniped down, and that is enough for Simplicity. They take Hanamura and keep the series alive.
Yep, keeping the series alive is the most important thing here for Simplicity because, of course, Fusion University were on match point. And like you had mentioned, if Fusion University could have just completed that out and held, that draw would have actually been the victory for them over the for this match.
Absolutely. The thing that I thought was, okay, like, I want your opinions on this because there were 2 incredible just kind of reflections on both sides. The first one, the first one that came up in this match was Who Are You reflecting the sleep dart back to Ginger Pop. Like, that was sick. But then it turned around and then Ginger Pop sleeping his Dragon Blade through the Transcendence. That was so freaking cool. Like, I want to see that more. People just shutting people down.
Well, it was vital too because, again, Transcendence is not necessarily invincibility. If you're going to nano boost Dragon Blade, that's enough damage to actually burst someone through. But if you're sleeping, not going to happen. And let's not forget on Reflection Haggins, it wasn't caught on camera, but there's also a point where Who Are You reflected a Bionade from Ginger Pop into Red Sea, which is sort of like, Ah, okay, this was a thing.
That's how that's gonna happen. It seemed like Simplicity, once they were allowed to get into a defensive position, you couldn't get them out. Like, it took a while for them to take that point. When they were on the offensive, it took a while for them to take that second point. But once they were in there, Fusion couldn't get them out. They couldn't root them.
Well, and also it's kind of testament to the idea that even if a team is generally playing well, you can never really assume anything for Assault, right? Where teams can be good at defending, but also Fusion just wasn't getting quality attacks for the most part, where even though I think Fusion would have been fine on any other game mode, look, Assault historically can trip up teams even when one is favored over the others, so Simplicity still played well here, but I don't think it was peak Fusion. And again, I just think it's Assault messes with certain teams, and Fusion might be one of them.
For Fusion there, I mean, their best attack was when he got that deflected sleep dart onto Ginger Pop, because they had a huge man advantage, but luckily for Simplicity, they had both of their tanks still alive. They had the Winston DPS with his Primal Rage, so he was able to stall out even longer. KSF, I believe, came back at that point with that Mei, and then we got to see how much mileage he got off that Mei. He was able to, the next fight over, get the wall off onto Beast Halo, who got taken out, and then from there, they just were able to extend that lead because of just that one play right there. That Primal Rage Winston just bought them so much time. They bought him actually the map win.
We have DPS on that Winston. This is a different, but I mean, just his play in general was excellent.
Well, what also enabled him here too is that he was getting every nano boost coming in from Ginger Pop, which lets you be more aggressive of Winston and do that. But I gotta say right now, I know I'm almost jumping the gun to a degree, but map-wise, I don't think there's any universe where Fusion doesn't bring this here, the Dorado, which has historically been Who Are You's playground. Now that I said that, watch it be Junkertown, I'm just gonna be like, wow, why has this happened? But
well,
okay,
yeah, there you go. You win. You are psychic, confirmed.
I'm not
here
psychic.
On air.
I just know Who Are You likes Dorado.
So, where do you guys see this going? So you're already kind of pegging this as a Who Are You playground.
Honestly, yeah, this is going to be great for him because this allows them to also not just run like the Tracer Genji, but Zachary can just go over to the Widowmaker and they can keep Who Are You on that Genji.
Yeah, and Who Are You, I mean, he's going to be on Genji here for the most part, I believe. There is a possibility we see some shenanigans where Zachary goes Sombra, but I kind of feel like Fusion University has moved away from that for more standard maps, so wouldn't be surprised if we saw it, but I think Fusion University is going to run it more standard and just enjoy the fact that's an escort map that plays a little bit more to their style.
Okay, well, here we go. On to Dorado. Will Simplicity be able to tie this up and bring us to our first 5 map of tonight's games?
Well, a lot riding on Simplicity's performance here, which, as Gina mentioned, would be our first map 5 here today. It's been a more straightforward day here on Overwatch Contenders, Jamerson.
And if we went to map 5, it would be very fitting for Fusion University, whose every single series so far has gone to map number 5 for them. But this is where I think, yeah, it is definitely one of their biggest strengths. Running the Tracer, running the Genji. Retzi out the gate, though. Doesn't see anything. Will instantly swap off from the Widowmaker.
I'm okay with the swap. I also think the Widow could have worked in this instance, but they're just going to fight dive with dive here. But again, easier said than done, especially where Fusion is really just good at playing the terrain on this map, where, again, them going to Dorado here, not even remotely a surprise. And Simplicity for now just feeling things out, not overcommitting, but neither is Fusion. Fusion wants to take this fight back in the quick card.
Yeah, but even though they made those swaps, Ginger Pop stayed on the Mercy. So we'll see how successful that Mercy will be for them. It can be difficult here because there are so many avenues of approach for both the defense and offense to try and get a flank onto the support line. So now Zachary going on in. Wunjae dropped low, but he had the pocket. It's Who Are You that takes out DPS as both supports were just busy in the back.
Fusion University not really diving in to take advantage of this here just yet. They're going, we are going to hold right about here. I said that Who Are You went really deep, and he might be getting punished for it. Got low, just barely able to get out in time. That was risky.
That was risky indeed. But take a look, Alarm almost has his Transcendence, 85% now. Ooh, connects with some great right clicks there. Forces them low, but he's got the Transcendence ready for this fight.
And look at the difference between him and Wanja. He's going to have the Transcendence. Wanja won't. It's a 15%, but it matters as there's a Transcend coming up from Fusion University. Keeps him nice and healthy. Wanja dying at 92%, and it's a difference in support play that makes everything else shine here for Fusion as they take that fight with ease.
Thing is, Simplicity, they committed the Valkyrie into that last fight. And so now they're not going to have it for this one. KSF, he's got the blade. We'll see if they try to tether Ginger Pop to him with that damage boost to try and cut through the sound barrier coming up from Elk.
What Fusion wants to do, they want to put enough pressure on Simplicity, on Wanja in particular, that he transcends early. They can wait like 2 or 3 seconds and then drop a barrier. Simplicity, biding their time, waiting. Look at the poke game here. DPS is already low. This is going to force Wanja the transcend. He goes in to help. There's the barrier. Going to mitigate a lot of the blade. KSF not getting quite what he wants. Diving into the tank line. Does get the D-Mech, but has to back off. It's not the crazy blade he would have liked in this situation. Meanwhile, you have Zachary off on the flank. Pulse bomb ready. Looking for Retzi. Retzi trying to check him. Retzi has the orb. Easily finishes off in the end. And Simplicity keeping the pressure on here. In no small part to that Tracer v Tracer battle just then. DPS low, needs to back out, got Crackalakin and did get out, still getting healed. DPS, good engage and disengage, and that's gonna let Simplicity take the point.
A real back and forth. While KSF wasn't able to find anything with his blade, he had the pocket of Ginger Pop the entire time there, so he was able to at least, help with some of that damage onto the Fusion University squad now. So we move on to second Simplicity. They're going to instantly go for that high ground to make sure that they don't get it for free due Fusion University. The gate does open up. 3 minutes and 20 seconds for them to secure second here, but it's going to be a difficult task. Who are you? We'll have the blade up for this next fight. Wonje, he just needs to buy some time. His team does for him to get that transcendence.
This is really not a bad situation at all for Simplicity, especially if they can win the next fight. Fusion University is going to come loaded for bear here. They're going to use just about everything they have if necessary. And now you see them moving on in. Pulse Bomb out early on. Simplicity, though, still very good health. They're going to use their Transcendence first, so now take a look. This could be really bad because Who Are You is looking at shops. You see here in the back, has the blade, and he's going to be looking to come in here, not the Transcendence use, but KSF uses blade first, but gets popped back a bit. Meanwhile, Who Are You with this blade? Decimates the back line, takes down 2, and Fusion University, patience paying off.
Highlander, there can be only one, and it's Who Are You walking away with that ninja battle now. And so Fusion University, they're able to hold on to this point. 2 minutes and 25 seconds now for Simplicity. They have to rely upon their tanks here to come up with something huge. Zombs. This is one of those angles where Divas can find some great bombs, so Fusion University have to be aware of their positioning here.
They have to be aware of it, but on the same note, it's so difficult for teams to get through second. We've seen so many holds here on Dorado on second that Fusion University, to a degree, is playing from a very advantageous position. As Ginger Pop gets just bopped in the back, and Zachary able to make that happen off the flank. Who Are You was in there with him, though, and got hit by Wanja, so Simplicity off that Zen play. Bring it the other way. Both flankers are down, and this is opportunity now for Simplicity. Both main DPS down. DPS going in. It's time to get some tanks, is what he's thinking here. Oh, did that go off the edge? I think it did. Wait for it. Oh!
Does fall off the ledge there. Wasn't able to hang on to the edge. DPS, though, playing on the edge. 31 HP. He does finally fall, but still, Pulse Bomb out. It does not get a kill.
Top 10 airtime there from Elk. It took a while for him to hit the floor. Simplicity still moving on in right now. Seizing the opportunity after killing both Who Are You earlier in the fight, and they get him again. Crackalakin can be out the mech. And this is where you must be dominant. Respawn still come in. This is the part where teams get choked up. And Simplicity using Retzi as their battering ram, getting respawn after respawn. But yet, Zachary in the back got Wanja. Retzi now in danger, going to fall, and Simplicity is not able to hammer this one on through.
Yeah, the Primal Rage out from Beast. Halo were able to buy them time for the rest of the members come in, and of course the respawn distance so far for the offense. And this is, like you had said, where the teams get gummed up now. Simplicity is coming down to their final push. Zombs even getting staggered there. 35 seconds left for Simplicity. They don't have many tools to work with. It's going to be Zombs with the self-destruct. Ginger Pop started off with that Valkyrie.
Zachary can be the dream breaker here, but he's poked down. He's not able to get the positioning where, we could triple blink onto his support and take him down. Instead, he's on the low ground. Gonna have to take the stairs. Meanwhile, Fusion University, or Simplicity, looking at just diving on in. Zachary's actually a little bit out of position in the beginning, but now he's finding Zenyatta and gets him for free towards the end. Abandoned by his team as everyone else was diving on in. Zachary makes it the most of it. And Nanoblade from Who Are You will likely be spelling the end here for Simplicity.
We have Zoms along with Retzi, the final members here. We do have KSF along with him. He's so close to the blade. They've got the D-Mech. There might be an opportunity here. Zoms with the light pistol was able to take on Zachary, but no, the reinforcements proving possibly to be too strong for them. They've even got the Transcendence now. Do the defense. Fusion University charging forward, trying to evict the members of Simplicity from this payload now.
Simplicity, though, working against the tide, working against respawn advantage. They lose DPS, and they're not able to stay on the payload. Another Dorado push, just brought down before second.
Yeah, KSF was having difficulty finding any traction at all. On the opposite end, we had, of course, just Alarm coming up with the clutch Transcendence every single time. KSF, no window of opportunity for him whatsoever with those blades.
That was very interesting how that worked out, because Simplicity, to a degree, had sort of outmaneuvered things there. Zachary was looking to go up the stairs, and then suddenly it's like, oh, there's a Zenyatta here. I guess I will eat him. And that really helped the Fusion defense there, where at the beginning it looked like Simplicity kind of had outmaneuvered for a while.
Oh yeah, no, that was a great moment for Simplicity. But yeah, once you give up the high ground as that Zenyatta, it becomes so difficult, especially because 1J, he had Ginger Pop as a Mercy who could have gone back to him to keep him alive, but time and again, he's been a focal point for the Fusion University dive, and generally it is the supports, but I haven't seen that much focus going down onto a support in a while.
So, Simplicity, their goal to extend the series and bring Fusion to yet another 5th map, something that Fusion, I'm sure, would like to avoid in this situation, is simple. Prevent Fusion University from getting right up to the apex of second, which, as we've seen, is a very doable goal here in Dorado. It's hard for teams to finish off and get to that second point.
Yeah, take a look at Simplicity's defensive hold. They're going to go with Retzi on the Soldier 76 and KSF on the Sombra here. Now, we don't generally see Sombra on the first point defense of Dorado, but you know, a lot of teams are still experimenting with this. There's some good minis to exploit, but not so many megas for the tanks to really try and use here. There's the one below the stairs, left-hand side, just before you get into the market, but it's very difficult to utilize. So we'll see how KSF fares with the Sombra.
For you, immediately diving in, Fusion University being highly aggro and being just as highly rejected here early on. The Bio Nade ruining their day. Fusion University gonna have to back out of this one. Simplicity was well prepared, and credit where credit's due to Ginger Pop for the denying of healing as they leapt on in.
Yeah, his biotic nades have been pretty spot on when they're not getting deflected by Who Are You. Now KSF on the hunt. Out of stealth, Who Are You might actually drop here. Dives on back. It's Beast Halo jumping onto the high ground. Despite that nade, we'll get that frag onto Retzi.
They got rid of the threat. Now, everyone in the courtyard, they don't have the soldier to actually back them up. Ginger Pop gets caught by a flanking diva, and Fusion University, they're all in, and ooh,
Zachary just lost track of 1J Lee and does get kicked down, but still, it doesn't matter. Fusion University taking out the tank line, forcing Simplicity to back up.
Even when Simplicity gets pickoffs, it's not really working out for them here. But now, final opportunity for Simplicity to come back in and delay just a little bit more. You see them coming off from the side. Retzi getting back into the fight. The payload, 316 now contested. KSF close to an EP, but look at Wanja. He has to get the Transcendence, immediately pops it here in response. Both Zenyatta's dancing on the payload, but it's coming down to the bombs. Zachary dropping the bomb there. Who Are You at the blade in the back? Gets Retzi and picks up another. The flanking DPS of Fusion bring the fight through when the Transcendences are done.
And now Fusion University, they've got nearly 5 minutes to work with. Plenty of time to build up their ultimates once again. They will have the sound barrier along with the Primal Rage, but no real follow-up beyond that. They have to contest up against Simplicity's 4. The Tactical Visor. It's going to be very scary. So Crackalakin has to be careful with that Diva. He cannot get D-Mech.
Key here from Simplicity is they don't want to burn too much on defending earlier up. The part where defense does really well is that final lip. If you use everything here and it doesn't work out, or you don't delay them for too long, it's going to be rough. But EMP works out well. Alarm immediately goes down. It sets up the Tac Visor from Retzi reasonably well, but it's not super clean for Simplicity either. Retzi's going to fall here towards the end. They're going to get staggered, and Fusion should still be able to get reasonable payload progress here if they come back in, but Zom says something else. Able to stagger Fusion a little bit more and prevent that reality from happening.
So Retsy's gonna swap off. He used that tactical visor. I don't feel like he needed to at all because that dive coming out onto Alarm was just really well executed. KSF spots him out. He calls it. I've got the EMP. He will fall. And then following it up with that tactical visor. It was just a little bit much, but now they're pushing forward. They've got the nano boost once again onto DPS, but he was booped away. Wasn't able to find much at all. He will be able to stomp down on Crackalacken though.
Found Crackalacken at the very least. Probably didn't need a nano boost to do that, but it's enough, right? They buy themselves a little bit more time. They're at a 2-fight buffer right now, and Retsy gonna flex here onto the Widow.
Yeah, he's gotten some poke damage off DPS, you know, in the final seconds of that Primal Rage, just going in for a little bit of poke here. Crackalacken has the back away. He's got headshot by Retsy now. A little bit of a sixth sense. He senses that someone might just be on the left side.
Where's Beast Halo? Is Beast Halo flanking on the left? Is that where he just was a second ago?
Yep.
I just saw, like, look, we have a stealth monkey right now, ladies and gentlemen. Who are you might have a blade, but Beast Halo is creeping around the right side. He's gonna leap on in, has the Primal Rage, uses that 140 HP, and is being the distraction for Who Are You. He has a barrier. Where's the blade? Ginger Pop already down it. Is he gonna go at 28 HP? He is! Beast Halo gets the run back on the other side. His stealth mission, a success.
How do they allow that to happen? You cannot allow the Winston to survive in that situation. EMP sets up Retsy though. 2 kills going over, and so now the defense full force here, going after some more staggered eliminations. Alarm might be the next to fall. Retsy though, Smoke is down. He will trade away. Still again, Simplicity. They've established their defense. The high ground they need to maintain for Retsy.
Let's make it simple here, and no pun intended. If you trade, you're winning the fight on defense. Simplicity is totally fine with this. Fusion, they lose Who Are You, he gets staggered once more. And just think about the time that's spot here. It's gonna be about a minute 40 left until Fusion gets another attack.
Yeah, and for their attack, it's gonna be Who Are You with the blade, but he doesn't have the backup of a barrier or, of course, that Transcendence. They always have to worry about Ginger Pop putting that nano boost onto DPS. We've seen him get it time and again. That would help him get his Primal Rage that much sooner. He's been really aggressive every time he does have that Primal Rage. Retsy goes for the grapple, does not connect with the headshot, so he just backs away.
Simplicity really split out here. It's a bit dangerous. You gotta think they're looking for the nano boost on the DPS gun, but they're gonna lose Wanja. No, they're not! He gets healed up just in time. Ginger Pop almost sacrificing his life, and does, just to keep Wanja alive, but not before getting the nano boost out. Retsy gets the cleanup onto the back, and again, this is good, clean trades for Simplicity. It's more than that, it's a one fight, and Fusion gonna be down to one of their final attempts.
Yeah, Retsy shutting down Fusion University. Who Are You? As he was in the middle of the animation to pull out his blade. Yeah, it's headshot. Retsy on fire. So we just briefly saw on screen. He's got this recon visor for this next fight. Fusion University really don't have much for it either.
They got a Dream and a Zachary is what they have right now, and Zachary has to outplay Retsy here. It's one of their only real ways of getting through. Neither team has much in the way of ults, neither great way to, bursting, but actually Simplicity has the EMP, so that makes it even more relevant that Zachary get a big pick off here to neutralize the effects of that coming in, or perhaps Alarm just gets a really good transcend, but Alarm, the EMP is out, he's able to get healed up, he doesn't get bopped by the EMP, Zachary's gonna fall those DPS, followed up on the EMP in the back. It's enough. Fusion University down to their final 20 seconds.
Down to their final 20 seconds, and the payload has rolled back so far. It's back at the courthouse now. And so, even if Simplicity lose this next fight, they do have an opportunity to come back for one last contest now. So you do hear the horns on blaring, Crackalacken on the point, pushing it forward with Beast Halo now. Zachary needs to do something with his Widowmaker, needs to do it quick.
He's looking for anything right now, has the other Widow on his sights, going in over the top, grapple up, looks for Retsy, has to reload, ill-timed reload. Meanwhile, Who Are You? Blade up, looking for anything. Bomb in the back, the tank line, punishing Fusion, and Who Are You is caught by Ginger Pop at the very end, and yet, Fusion University keeping up the pressure. 4 still alive on the payload. Respawn's coming in soon for Simplicity. Look at KSF. He's about to have an EMP. Alarm's already done. What you gonna do? KSF about to EMP here. That could be the finisher. Looking for the opportunity. Alarm nowhere in sight. There's the EMP. And yet, they don't convert on it. Zachary gets Ginger Pop. Retsy firing right back. We're still even in this fight, but it's Retsy crushing the dreams of Fusion University. And if you're in Fusion, to say you'll catch him in Game 5, because that's where we're going.
Yay!
I mean,
Yay!
were we expecting a different result, guys, other than a map 5 at the point?
Yeah, I mean,
Yes,
at the
after the first two
beginning,
maps, yes!
yes, you guys were all like, Fusion, Fusion. I'm like, but I think Simplicity with my little Simplicity flag. I'm going to make flags for these little teams that I support. It's going to happen before the end of the season. That was incredible. That went right down to the last few meters of the game.
Yeah. The interesting thing for me is how well Fusion does in normal game situations, but you test them on these points that are harder to capture than average. Last point, Hanamura. Second point, Dorado. They're not able to get it done. And this seems to be an issue with them where they look otherwise dominant on these other points, but you put them in these just, again, harder than average areas, they kind of fold, is what we're seeing right now.
Kind of fold also, KSF along with Retzi just really going off, especially Retzi on that Widowmaker, making that swap off was huge for him, shutting down Whoaryu's Blade with the simple headshot. I mean, it was great, and that really did empty out the bank of Fusion University going into the last fights there. They would have loved to have that Blade in the last fight.
By the way, if you know who's watching this right now and just screaming their heads off, it's not Simplicity fans, it's Optic fans here, because the entire idea of, okay, Optic's fighting for second, that depended on Fusion University winning this match. The fact that Simplicity has now brought this to a Game 5, where anything can happen, that can radically shift the playoff potential of this entire group.
Yeah. I'm gonna freak out. I'm not very professional. I'm gonna freak out if Simplicity wins this. Okay, so you guys said something very interesting. You said trades tend to favor the defense. Why is that?
Well, particularly on Dorado second, is that the defense has a much shorter walk to come back out there. You almost have to kill the defense 2-1, 3-1, or kill all the defenders at the same time. Otherwise, the respawn advantage, they're going to get you with attrition. So it's not so much that you can, go, oh, a trade, that's fine. It's more like, no, you need to kill 3 people for every 1 that dies of your own.
Our final map for today is going to be Oasis, as is usual for our particular thing that we're doing here with the contenders. Where do you guys see this going specifically when it comes to KSF and his trades? Because you guys had mentioned that particular synergy right there. I noticed KSF's blades were a little bit ineffective. He seemed to get kind of zoned out a few times when he would actually pull them. So where do you guys see the effectiveness of that coming in here?
I mean, we'll see if he runs Genji to begin with. Oasis is a map that encourages your projectile DPS to go Pharah, and even if teams haven't fronted as much in the past, there's always the potential where they look at and go, let's run Pharah. We've seen Whoaryu run Pharah before. We've seen KSF run Pharah before. So we'll see how either team wants to even run Oasis first, where it's a more unique map and compositions that doesn't always lend itself to running the traditional Tracer Genji dive.
Okay, Jamerson?
Yeah, we've also seen a lot of Sombra here, and towards the latter half of Dorado, that's where KSF really came alive with it, and he looks a lot more comfortable, and definitely a lot more comfortable than Zachary was playing it on the opposite end for Fusion University. So that's where Fusion's really going to struggle. If we go to like University in particular, where Sombra is played more often.
Alrighty, well, here we go. Simplicity, Fusion University, Map 5, final match of the night.
Well, Jamerson, the sun is setting on Oasis as it is setting on this match, but if one thing Fusion University has something to be happy over, they don't have to go into a harder than normal to attack point. This is all on them, control as even as it gets.
They do have the McGlady composition, Retzi getting pocketed right now by that Mercy. And so Fusion have to be careful going in on this dive. There's a lot of control for the Simplicity squad right now. Both teams just rotating, kind of just juxtaposing their spawns now.
Retzi's McCree has not been shut down here so far. As much as it's a good hero for him in the past, I don't know if it's the best option for him here. We'll see, though. They're certainly investing a lot of faith into him, but he's going to get dove all the same, and yet getting healed up. Able to survive. They get Beast Halo. The support was there. And that's how you support a McCree. That's how you make him effective. And for the first time here, it's kind of working for Simplicity, at least in the beginning.
Yeah, someone getting pocketed by a Mercy isn't going to get killed by a Winston. You need some extra follow-up there. Now, Zombs, he is out of his mech. Simplicity at the point of locks. They take control over it right now. Fusion still trying to buy some time. Oh, Beast Halo once in the back, and he's going to fall once again.
Don't forget, for Simplicity to come back here, this would be a reverse. Because the Deadeye gets 2! And they're just going to go, let's be safe, drop a Transcend. I don't think you really needed to after the Deadeye, but why not be sure? Simplicity, 20% to 0 to start this out.
20% to 0. Ginger Pop did use the Valkyrie along with 1J Lee's Transcendence in that. And so Fusion University, you know, only using Alarm's Transcendence, we're able to bait out a lot. So that means Who Are You coming into this next fight with this blade, all he really has to worry about is the hack coming out from EMP. Well, there it is, yeah.
That was something big to worry about. His social security number has been stolen, hacked, and shot down in the moment. Simplicity piling on there with that well-placed EMP, and Fusion University looking to be in a bit of trouble right now.
A bit of trouble. Luckily, that fight ended so quickly that 1J and Ginger Pop weren't able to build up much ultimate, only 20% between them. And so now Who Are You still has that window. KSF no longer has the EMP. Who Are You was looking for it. He does have the hack, though.
Gets the hack early on. Who Are You, though? Able to back out. Now Blade at the ready. 120 HP, not the greatest and most healthy time to go in. So you see right now, he's waiting to get healed up. Health pack, healing, whatever it may be. Then he's going to dive on in. Gets the healing he's looking for. Now looking to dive in. Gets hacked again! Oh my word! Every time he wants to pull out a blade, he just finds himself unable to do anything. Fusion University, though, they deal with the dive pretty well. DPS is out of the fight. They're moving back the other way. It's high noon. Rutzi gets D.Va before she's able to remech, but goes down at the same time. Fusion University not to be denied here as Mercy gets slashed to ribbons.
Slashed to ribbons. Final stall coming out from Simplicity, 97%. So, Fusion University, they have to play this perfectly, but they committed so much into that last fight. We'll see if Simplicity pushing forward. Just with the Valkyrie, really, they could win out this fight. Alarm, though, he has that Transcendence to try and keep Fusion University topped off in this next fight.
It's up to Alarm here, where Alarm needs to not get EMP'd. If the fight goes long enough, the KSF can get it up. But more than anything else, you have Red Sea got Who Are You? Transcendence not going to save you there, not even on the menu. And it's a late Transcendence coming out, but you've already lost both your DPS. What are you expecting to happen here? Uncharacteristic of Alarm as Red Sea continues to go off. His McCree in rare form after a rough showing earlier in the series.
You know, to Alarm's credit, there's nothing else you could really done at that point. Your team's gone. It's 97% for Simplicity. EMP comes out, and with that, it's going to be Simplicity taking the first point.
This is too soon after the OWL Stage 2 finals, man. If you are a fan of Philadelphia esports, or particularly Overwatch, now you're just going, wow. You're just going to just be scared anytime you go up 2-0 on a team, because you're going to go, oh my God, they have us right where they want us. Because this would be the second reverse sweep to strike Philadelphia in under a week.
Yeah, in just as many days, 2 days, yeah. Fusion University, they're not going to change anything up. Zachary, back on that Tracer. Who Are You? Staying on that Genji. This time he doesn't have to deal with no pesky hackers. Sombra is not on the table for KSF. He's going with that Soldier 76 for Simplicity here. I think they were expecting possibly a Pharah to come out, but they'll be pleasantly surprised to find out there isn't one here. Well, charge forward.
As pleasantly surprised as anyone can be when you run into Who Are You's Genji, but Fusion is looking disheveled right now in the situation. We'll see if they can find a way back in. For now, both teams jockeying for position. The first point, Simplicity going to be holding a little bit further back, leveraging the 76. Fusion, at some point, going to have to decide, okay, it's time to dive.
And yeah, there they are into the back line. Kraken Lacken drop down low. It's KSF started off taking down Beast Halo. So that dive was punished. With that Simplicity, just cleaning up the members of Fusion University on the points. As soon as they do, they'll be able to take this point.
Simplicity has been playing better and better as the series has gone on. They've fixed issues from the first two maps. Their supports are playing better. Their tanks are playing better. And Fusion, again, in disarray as Simplicity is going to get first control here on the city center. 1 round away from completing the reverse sweep.
1 round away, 95% away. Simplicity in a great spot. KSF, he's almost got that tactical visor. Retzi already has that bomb, of course. It's Tracer. And Zachary on the opposite end. Hasn't been able to get as much damage off. Now Retzi looking the back, gets the stick onto Alarm.
Gets Alarm, taking the wind out of the Fusion University sails once more. Simplicity, again, looking renewed. The tac visor of KSF guns down Elk from the side. And Winston, it's time to go play in traffic. Actually, is he gonna get back? No, he got run over. Or Retzi finished him off. So no car, feels bad, man.
Oh man, the momentum completely in Simplicity's favor here. They're going to have a Transcendence along with a Valkyrie for the next fight. DPS, we've seen what he can do when he has that Primal Rage. Buys so much time for Simplicity, while Fusion University has just been struggling to get any ultimates. Who Are You coming up on his first blade now?
Who Are You? And this is a long blade for Who Are You as well, to your point. It usually gets it much quicker. That's how out of sorts Fusion have been here. And Who Are You gets chunked down early on. Can't blade immediately, but there's a Transcend. Gonna top him back up. Not gonna have the Transcend when he dives in the blade, though. The coordination's lacking here for Fusion University. Simplicity more than willing to play the outskirts and go, you guys have to hunt us down. Who Are You goes, okay, gets one, looks for more, picks up two. Who Are You suddenly springing to life here, but you have to fully finish it off to take this point.
Yeah, DPS was able to take him out. It was a 3-for-1 exchange. But remember, this is Oasis. This is City Center. You can stall this out for a long time. DPS will go ahead and do that. You saw him lurking that whole time. Retzi is there. Zachary takes DPS down. Retzi now the final member here. Try and stall out for Simplicity.
Simplicity, one team fight away, potentially, Jamerson, from the reverse sweep. Fusion is out of last chances now.
Final chance indeed. Fusion University, you have to get this team fight win. You have to be able to snowball this. But now KSF, he's got the Pocket of the Mercy. He's almost got the Tactical Visor.
KSF moving in and around, and this is what they use to get the point to begin with. Look at the focus on Crack right now. He's trying to back out, and he does. Not demect. Gets out of danger here early on. Gets healed back up. That would have been huge. Meanwhile, KSF forces out the barrier and still gets him with Zachary. Whoa! 3 kills off a clustered pulse bomb, keeping Fusion in it.
Keeping Fusion in it is an understatement. That is the only way you could have brought it back. Zachary, 3-man pulse bomb, really coming alive now. I don't think he could even believe it himself. He's shaking around his mouse.
Can you please emote? Okay, now it doesn't matter. You're crouching far too late after the actual event. Your BM game needs to be on better points, actually.
And this is where Fusion now are able to stabilize. They've got the Transcendence for Alarm. Kraken has his self-destruct, but Who Are You now is coming up on a blade. Wonjae Lee very far from his Transcendence.
Simplicity, again, they're just going to be looking to poke here, but you're right, they're kind of up against superior resources from Fusion here. DPS into the back, looking for a knockoff, looking for anything, but not really going to get it. In fact, not much. Wait, you can't get the point for free. Fusion, what are you doing? They get back onto the point just in the nick of time. That could have been ugly, but meanwhile, Who Are You? Blade out. 2, gonna be 3. Who Are You? Putting Fusion back on top when they need it most. 85 to 89.
85 to 89, and now that means Simplicity just have to make a mad dash for this point as the respawns come in. They are not going to have a full 6-man team fight. Zachary on the lurk. He's got the pulse bomb. He's actually just going to play bouncer at the door here. He says, challenge me. I have a bomb for you. Now it's a Diva on here to try and stall it out. He's holding onto the bomb. Is Zachary here?
Fusion saying, ring the Liberty Bell. They get down Zombs early on, looking for a little bit more. DPS under assault at the moment. Pulse bomb out, whiffs from Zachary. Fusion, again, they just need to finish out this team fight, and they will force a round number 3. Holding steadfast against Simplicity. That was so close to complete the reverse sweep here. DPS is going to fall. Who Are You? Dives to the backline, and one by one, Simplicity is falling when they had Fusion University in check. Overtime, so close to being over in the moment as Simplicity streams on.
Simplicity still trying to stall this out, and of course it is Oasis, it is City Center. You can buy a lot of time, but remember it's overtime and it ticks away so quickly. Fusion University keeps this alive, and we're going to the final point to decide who walks away the victor. Fusion University versus Simplicity.
A great sigh of relief was heard from the city of Philadelphia, but how much can that be the case? They're still at risk of being reverse swept after being up 2-0 in the series, after watching their OWL team fall to a similar fate. Now, Jamerson, it's all going to be decided here on the Gardens. We'll see what happens.
Neither side currently opting for a Pharah. KSF, going back to that Soldier 76, where it's difficult. The sight lines, it's not that far. Who Are You? Beast, Halo, Kraken can jump right on top of him. KSF has to stay on top of his positioning here on the Soldier 76.
KSF was a difference maker in the beginning of City Center, but he's going to have to be more so here, where he's not going to have the same level of protection he did. Who Are You? Chunked early on here. Simplicity taking advantage of the poke game. DPS got hit a little bit, able to back out. Fusion University just going back and forth, looking for an opportunity. Both teams pretty decent on health right now. DPS, first he's in, then he's out. going to get away from the fight here.
Oh.
But Fusion starting to push the issue, but Zombs on the other end. Beast Halo and Crackalacken are done.
But Zombs gets demeched himself now. Zachary presumably is able to do that. Even gets the frag onto KSF now. Zachary just putting his team on his back. Both DPS really for Fusion University coming alive
Zachary!
here once they're up against the ropes.
Zachary, all the cleanup you could want and more. Fusion takes the first control here on the Gardens. My word.
Yeah, and now Ginger Pop will even use that res to make sure there's as little downtime as possible. Simplicity do not want to give up anything for free here. They've got the full 6-man regroup, but still, they have to deal with Zachary, who has been a constant pest with this Tracer. Now he's got the Pulse Bomb ready.
He almost got picked off. He was looking for the Pulse Bomb, was forced back. Wanja was able to get him out of their face there early. Now Simplicity moving their way up. DPS caught off guard and down. That's going to be a huge blow, Simplicity, but they even it up. Beast Halo exploded. Both Winston's out of the fight. Retzi dashing in and around. Who are you? Denied. He got one, but immediately stuffed. Back and forth is this fight here. Wanja brought back up. Simplicity, perhaps a man advantage, but Retzi's forced out. It's not decisive for Simplicity in the moment. They end up regrouping. This gives time for Fusion to regroup and turn.
Simplicity now with the Valkyrie. They're going to try and push forward, but it's Fusion University on the counter offensive here. Jumping onto the tank line. Zombs now with the self-destruct as he's going to try and chase out the Crackalack. No, he lets him get away for free here. He's onto the high ground. He will get the DMAC. The orb was not enough to keep him alive. Transcendence used along with the sound barrier from the opposite end from Fusion University.
They're going to layer those support ults, and that could come back to bite them in the butt. They lose Who Are You here in the beginning, but Fusion, they still make the most of it. They got down Wanja. Zachary once more dashing in and around. Got not one, but both supports. Fusion, one more fight away from letting history not repeat itself here.
And Simplicity threw everything at that except for the
look at this
Primal
one.
Rage.
No.
And oh, what a great stagger now. And so, Simplicity, they're going to be running in with only 95%, maybe 96% is going to come close down to the wire here. Fusion University, Zachary, he's on the lurk. He knows that there's someone coming in late spawned.
He's waiting for it right now. Meanwhile, you have KSF swap to the Pharah. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Simplicity, final attempt here. Flank squad out from Fusion. Zachary and a Winston and a Prayer looking for looking for DPS early on, and they still focus him down. Primal Rager, no. But while this is going on, Beast Halo's out of it. DPS able to shake the pressure. Zachary on the flank. Fusion, they need this fight, and yet Simplicity is working out well. The self-destruct catches Retzi. 5 on 5. Who Are You going the other way? And Fusion University so close now, 99%. They just need a little bit more. Who Are You continues on the cleanup. KSF struggling for anything here, forced off the point. You gotta get back in. Overtime still in progress, ticking down. Let Liberty ring. Fusion does not let history repeat itself. They take the series.
This is my salty face.
You know,
That was so good, though. I bet it's my salty face.
you cursed him because I heard you ripping paper as you were writing out a Simplicity flag over there.
I did. I drew a little, but I'm gonna wave it next week anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm still.
So that's what you're doing over there.
You cursed
Well,
those.
I'm
You
watching,
cursed them.
but no, I did not. I was sending good juju. That was just honestly like it was Zachary's lack of chill is what lost. Okay, Simplicity.
Simplicity was winning before you started drawing that flag. I'm just.
Oh, okay. So
That's
we're
the
gonna blame.
ultimate caster curse, really.
We're gonna blame me.
Sitting there
I'm
trying
not
to make signs
I'm
for
not
a
a
team.
caster. Not a
that's right.
caster. I'm allowed to draw signs. But no, it was. I actually wrote it down. Zachary's distinct lack of chill. Simplicity lost.
Yeah.
Clear. Here we go.
That 3-man pulse bomb, here it is. Just, oh, he walks it into them. 1J Lee just walks it into them.
Yeah.
So I guess he was like the 7th man for Fusion University there.
In the beginning of this, in the library, Beast Halo was getting caught out quite a bit. That seemed, he hadn't been doing that very much. You didn't see that very often until library.
Yeah, Beast Halo sort of reverted to kind of his old ways there, and that hurt Fusion pretty badly, especially.
Oh, that's right, because he was like sneaking around in Dorado too.
Yeah.
He saw a low target, but the problem is whenever you do have a Mercy along with the Zenyatta, if they pocket each other, you're not going to be able to kill them as a Winston. And he had to realize that. Instead, he jumps out way too late, gets punished. And then from there, of course, Simplicity were able to walk away with that round. But you know, towards the end, of course, Who Are You and Zachary, they just come alive and keep it alive for Fusion University.
Yeah, I feel kind of tricked. I feel a little tricked because Simplicity was, I mean, and they did. They played really well, but like Zachary and Who Are You? I feel like they were just like, oh, well, we'll let them think they're going to win and then just annihilate them.
I will say is that Fusion definitely has a way of just completely debating their opponents. It's like, we have a chance, and then Fusion's going to catch you at 5 and actually win the 5th map. And that is, I mean, again, think about the implications of that final round there.
Yeah.
That could have, if Fusion lost that would have been the best news ever for Optic, for Envision. And instead, now Fusion gets to sort of breathe a sigh of relief. They dodge a game that they should have probably closed down 3, but they suddenly staggered and just had rough offensive goes on Hanamura and Dorado respectively, and they almost got caught, but they didn't. They avoid disaster at the last possible moment.
All right, we've got some replay. Here is Who Are You? Annihilating and being amazing, I can only assume. Yeah, here we go.
Match. I mean, he started off on the Tracer, you know, not the greatest hero for him, but he did have a good performance. But it was once he went out to this Genji where he really got to shine. This is where everyone fell in love with him from the Lunatic High days. His Genji play was absolutely spectacular. Even though he was getting challenged by Ginger Pop on that Ana during Hanamura, he still had some great moments.
Yeah, and I mean, it always feels like Who Are You is returning to an old friend anytime he goes to Genji, where, look, credit where credit is due. His Tracer actually was quite good today. I don't think it's quite on the level as Genji, but it was better than I think we've seen it in recent times. I do think the problem is that when you put Who Are You on the Tracer, it means you're putting Zachary on something that's not Tracer, which is still not the best look for Philly so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I was excited because I finally got to see Retsy's McCree that you guys had talked about.
Yeah, and he had a lot of protection when he went onto that McCree. He had the Mercy there, of course, with the pocket, and like his tanks were just doing a great job of just counter diving every time Beast Halo went in on him, and so they were just not able to disrupt that formation whatsoever.
The strange thing about McCree, too, is that McCree always strikes me as a hero where it feels like there's almost a warm-up period for people to get used to him again, where McCree really did not do that much back on Ilios, where, sure, he was getting dove on, etc. But he got much more to a groove, both mechanically and certainly his team protecting him when he brought it out in University. So it was kind of cool to get a little bit of nostalgia shot there, where it's like, oh, yeah, I can still play this character and actually do quite well.